Welcome to a very special 1-year anniversary show of Super Bloom Coach. When you're watching this, it's my 41st birthday, August 6th, and that means that we launched the Super Bloom Coach podcast 1 year ago today. So I'm so excited to share this episode with you. We have published 68 episodes in the last year, which is crazy. I can't believe we've done that much. So I really just want to share my journey with you, talk about what worked, what didn't work, what our plans are for the future, and answer the $1 million question. This is Super Bloom Coach, the podcast for ambitious women ready to 10x their business and their life. I'm your host, Mariah Riona, award-winning luxury brand designer and certified life coach. And every week, I'll be here as your Super Bloom coach, helping you ditch the limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck, small, and broke. We'll dive deep into the mindset, marketing, and strategy that actually moves the needle. Plus, have candid conversations with powerhouse women entrepreneurs who are blooming big in their own businesses. If you're ready to grow, you're in the right place. Okay, so first, let's talk about why I actually started this podcast last year. If you've been following me for a while, you probably heard the story about me going to Miami to become life coach certified through the Life Coach School by my coach hero, Brooke Castillo. It was an amazing experience. If you don't know about that, you should definitely check out the vlog series we did on it. I went behind the scenes. It was incredible. Anyway, I made a ton of amazing friends there. My last day at coach training, we coached each other on our big, impossible business goals. And I decided then and there that my 40th year, I was going to make $1 million in my business. And this was no small goal for me. Until that point, I had only ever made $100K in my business. So this was a 10x goal. It was really big. It felt really exciting. I wanted to celebrate that and I wanted to dive in completely. And that's sort of the inspiration behind this podcast, sharing my journey to 10xing my business. The name Super Bloom actually came from my obvious love of florals all over my website and all over my branding. I love this idea of Super Bloom because it's all about this next era, right? It's about making something really spectacular happen. Like a super bloom is just an amazing bloom of flowers in the desert, right? So I kind of felt like my desert was having been stuck at 6 figures, 100K for several years in a row, and I was ready for my super bloom. So let's talk about the highlights from year 1, season 1 of the podcast. My top 3 downloaded episodes, this was actually surprising to me. The number 1 downloaded episode, and we're gonna link all of these in the description so you can go check them out, but this is actually pretty funny to me. Out of all the 68 episodes that we created last year, the number 1 downloaded episode was gift ideas for life coaches. This was around Christmas time last year, and I shared like my favorite things that I love to use in my personal life and my business, and I shared them so that you could gift yourself or the life coach in your life. The second most downloaded episode was How to Get What You Deserve with Elizabeth Woods, MD. That was such a fabulous interview that I did with my client, Elizabeth Woods. Elizabeth and I met in Miami. We got coach certified together, and she ended up hiring me shortly after that to build her brand and her website. And we did that with my luxury brand leader package. And actually I had 5 different ladies from that coaching program that I went to all hired me shortly after the program. And so what we did was I wanted a fabulous 40th birthday party, let's be honest. But also to celebrate my 40th year and the launch of this podcast, we threw a huge Super Bloom event at the Ritz-Carlton down in Tucson, Arizona. And I invited all of my coach friends to come, and over half of them came. It was amazing. And those 5 ladies who had booked me, they all came, and we treated them as VIP guests. So they got all these special little perks and bonuses while they were there. We had a special VIP dinner. And one of my favorite things we did, and it's so special for this podcast in particular, is we actually set up a podcast studio in the Ritz-Carlton suite that we were staying in. And we filmed 5 podcast interview episodes with those 5 VIP guests back to back in one day. And it was a whirlwind, but it was like so exciting. I have this a lot where you're just like in the thick of it and it's like stressful and overwhelming, but just so thrilling. And you just have this thought like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm so excited to share that our second downloaded episode was actually one of those interviews with my client, Elizabeth Woods. The third was actually an episode titled The Luxury Branding Process. So I do still talk a lot about luxury branding on this podcast. You know, I am a business coach. Now my background is in luxury branding, logo, website design. We're still doing that. I'm building my coaching business as well. I thought it was really interesting that the third one was the luxury branding process. Separately, we decided that we were going to not only put these episodes on podcast platforms, so we have it distribute weekly to various podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, things like that where you listen in. But I had also been building a YouTube channel for years, and we decided to use the video from the podcast episodes, just like if you're watching this right now, on our YouTube channel. So video has been such a big part of my business for the last few years. I couldn't imagine doing these podcast episodes week after week and not using it on my YouTube. We created a podcast playlist on there, and we have uploaded all 68 episodes. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that in a little bit, because it really sort of changed how we approached the whole podcast over the year. So I want to kind of share that with you, and also what we're looking to do in season 2. Highlights from specifically the YouTube channel. Because of this podcast, we actually crossed over 10,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel around Christmas time last year. So that was huge. Totally different sort of metrics on there. It's really interesting to look at like what popped off on YouTube as opposed to what people were listening to on the podcast apps. The top video from the podcast this last year was how to get coaching clients, which is crazy because I'm not even sure if that was in the top 10 downloaded audio wise. So kind of cool. That just goes to show, if you're doing content, like how different platforms are geared towards different audiences, and will also like promote different types of content. And so I love this idea of really dispersing your content on various platforms. All right, some of my favorite moments from season 1 from my 40th year. I would have to say, going back, it was just like I talked about, Ritz-Carlton experience that we did, building a studio in the suite, filming all day, 5 different episodes. That was so cool. It was such a like high production event that we did, because a lot of the times my interviewees that I'm having on the podcast, they're all over. And so we just meet on like Zoom, or we chat via like video chat. And it's great and we have great conversations, but you know, like that never has as high of quality video. When we had these interviews in person, I had actually flown in my videographer from Colorado Springs, and we had like a whole set. We had a 3-camera setup. We had like all the audio. It was just like much higher production, and I loved that. My goal is to get back to that. Obviously, there are some barriers in the way. Cost is one of them. It's just really expensive to always be producing at that level. The other thing is just the guests. I want to interview a lot of people, and most of them are not local. So, you know, maybe when this blows up, we will get people to fly in from all over the country to be on the show. So I would love that. I think my other thing that was a favorite moment from this last year, from season 1, was my assistant at the time, she's now my project coordinator, Sydney, we decided we were going to do 30 days of daily podcast episodes. I just really wanted to like almost prove to myself that I could do it. And the reason I decided to do this is because I had grown my YouTube channel for so long. I think at the time I had had it for 6 or 7 years. It was really like niched into one area, and I had had some videos go viral for me, but they were videos that didn't really align with where my business was headed. I had noticed that they were bringing me the wrong clients and the wrong audience members. I actually had a video that had like, I wanna say it had like 150,000 views. I made the really tough decision this last year to pull that video down off of YouTube because it really was just, I was getting a ton of inquiries and leads from that video, but it wasn't a good fit for my business. So that, of course, was a very hard decision. I decided to do this 30 days. It was YouTube, obviously, but also in the podcast to do daily videos and turn it into a series that was really honed in on my ideal client, where I saw this business going, the people I wanted to be working with. And so what we did was we did a series where it was the ultimate guide to starting your life coaching business, because I love coaches. I love working with coaches on the branding side of our business. And this last year, actually, we did a ton of amazing brands and websites, and they were all coaches. So I just wanted to get more of those amazing clients. We did this 30 days, daily videos, a complete series, like A to Z, how to launch your life coaching business. It was crazy. I'm really proud of us because we didn't skip a day. There were a few days where, like, because our posting time local is 10 a.m. There were a few days it went out a little late, but we hit it every single day. We had a new episode, video and audio, go out every single day. So I'm really proud of that. It was super intense when we were in it. It was great because it happened at like a slower season with clients. So we were able to really just focus on pushing out this content daily. But it grew my show, it grew my audience. It really brought in more of those ideal clients because I was speaking directly to coaches, right? But more than that, I think it really grew mine and Sydney's belief of like what's possible and what we're capable of. Because it's funny when we look back, we did that in April. And like, I want to say like since April, we have been doing crazy big things ever since. And it's like this idea of like, well, we did 30 days of daily videos, right? Like, of course we can do this. So like another example is I just launched a new membership and I launched it in 2 weeks, which before I would have been like, oh, I'll launch this in 6 months. I need all that time to prepare, right? And it's just this idea of like when you push yourself that hard, I kind of love it because it's just like you prove to yourself what you're capable of. That series showed us like, man, we can do hard things. Like we can show up for ourselves, for this business. And I hope that it showed you what you are capable of too. Hold up. Before we go any further, I need to let you in on something. If you're loving this episode, you have to check out Super Bloom Coach Society because this podcast, it's just the beginning. SCS is the coaching community built for listeners of this show. It's where we take everything you're learning here and go 10 times deeper with live coaching from me, monthly trainings, and the exact mindset and marketing tools to help you scale. Inside, you'll finally have a blueprint, a clear, strategic path to grow your business with intention instead of chasing every trend or second-guessing your next move. Each month, we focus on one powerful topic, from offers and visibility to money mindset and client attraction, so you can build real momentum and see results that last. And you won't be doing it alone. You'll be surrounded by a community of driven, like-minded women who are all building businesses that align with their highest vision. Head to mariahriona.com/society and let's make this your Super Bloom year. So I know this is the moment you've all been waiting for, the $1 million question. I made it my goal to make $1 million in my business when I turned 40, which was last August. So did I make $1 million this last year? No, I didn't. And I'm not even sad about it. So let me tell you why. I had a coaching call last week that changed everything. I've been doing one-on-one coaching since my birthday last year with my life coach, Kim. She invited me to her last 2 group coaching calls these last 2 weeks. And so she asked everyone in the group, it's a small group, she asked us all to come to this last call and reflect on what we had accomplished over the last year. And to be honest, I didn't really do my homework. I didn't come prepared with what I was gonna share. When I got on the call, I didn't even raise my hand because I was like, oh, I didn't make the $1 million. I didn't do X, Y, and Z. I just wasn't really thinking of like what I had accomplished. I was feeling more like I hadn't quite hit the mark. Then I was actually the last person she called on. And I think just hearing everybody else talk about what they had accomplished, it kind of like triggered in me like, oh yeah, like I have done stuff. I ended up sharing with the group what this last year looked like for me, despite not making $1 million in my business. And it was really a magical experience. I shared that while I didn't make $1 million, I did triple my revenue this last year. I actually made more than 3 times what I have ever made annually in my business. I was able to give myself a raise, a pretty decent raise, because I honestly was always just putting money back into the business and never really paying myself. And so this year I gave myself a raise worthy of the new revenue I had coming in. And I, because of that raise, became the breadwinner in our family for the first time ever. And that was really powerful for me. Because of that raise, I was able to hire a private chef for my family. So we have a private chef, Dana, who comes in once a week and makes all our meals. She meal preps for us for the week. That in itself has been amazing. I did all of this while only working 3 days a week. So I made, multiple 6 figures in my business, and I still only work Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Before, it was always about building the business of my dreams. I could just see like pushing myself to that 7-figure mark. I was gonna burn out so fast, and I didn't want it to mean that I had to work so much more or that I had to give up things that I wanted. So instead, I started giving myself things in my life. I actually started dancing again, which I'm just obsessed with. I dance 4 times a week. I was in the dance recital this last year. That was magical. I've also lost 20 pounds. And I bought myself a whole new designer wardrobe, which I never would have allowed myself before because I always felt like I needed to lose all the weight. Being coached by Kim, I really just learned to like love yourself, where you're at, love your life right now. We put these carrots out in front of ourselves, like someday we'll get there. If you do that, you're just gonna like live your whole life like that and never have the thing you want. You'll never enjoy the moment. I think the biggest thing that happened for me this year is I just absolutely fell in love with my life. I wake up every morning. I'm so grateful for my life, everything in it. I'm grateful for my business. I love all of my clients. I love all the things I do in my life that have nothing to do with my business. I am honestly just living my best life. That to me was worth so much more than making $1 million. I do want to talk about this idea that Kim introduced me to, my life coach. As soon as I hired her and said, I want to make $1 million this year. I know I need to work with someone on my mindset around that because, there's going to be so much stuff that comes up that I'm going to need to work through. As soon as I told her that, she started calling me $1 Million Mariah. She told me very wisely, like that I needed to become $1 Million Mariah before I got $1 million in my bank account. And I know this from all my other coaching experience. We think that like making the $1 million or losing the weight or like doing the thing, like that carrot out in front of us, We chase that carrot because we think that will make us happy. But it's not that thing that makes us happy. It's our thoughts that make us happy. We can actually be happy now without the thing we're chasing. And then the thing we're chasing comes so much easier. Actually, before I even started working with Kim, I was really into this idea of like being aware of your future self, working towards your future self, wanting to become your future self like now, not in the future. I had written in the front page of this planner, which I use also as a journal, I wrote a whole page about $1 Million Mariah. I hadn't named it that yet because that's what Kim started calling me. So I went back after and I called it $1 Million Mariah. But I wrote down all the things that $1 Million Mariah does that I wasn't doing. So it was things like, getting dressed up for work every day, moving my body and working out every day, eating healthy and taking care of myself, growing my team and, being a leader and all of these things. I went through it after that call I had with Kim. And it's so funny because I literally could check off everything on that list. I had become $1 Million Mariah. I had lost the weight, but it wasn't because I was trying to lose the weight. It was because I became someone who moved my body and worked out every day and danced again because I loved it. Ate healthy and got like a chef for my family. Like I became that best version of myself. I realized I had become $1 Million Mariah with or without the $1 million. In this space that I'm in, I really feel that like I'm much more in flow. I'm much more like aware of like the right moves for my business. We're still building big things. I have a plan for how to make the $1 million. I just feel like it's gonna come to me so much easier now that I have embraced $1 Million Mariah. I didn't make the $1 million, but I've definitely had my super bloom year. And here's the truth about those goals, about those carrots, like I was saying. We don't chase the goals for the result. We think we do. We think we're chasing it, like I said, for the weight loss or for the money in the bank or whatever. We chase those goals because of how we think they will make us feel. But the good news for you and for me is that we don't have to wait. You can choose to feel that way right now. You can choose to think the thoughts that will make you feel that way. You can become that person now and the circumstances will follow. So that is why I'm so excited to share with you that we have launched a brand new coaching membership called Super Bloom Coach Society. This is a coaching experience for women, all women, not just coaches, who are ready to 10x their business and their life. If you want to have an amazing Super Bloom year, just like I did, join me inside of Super Bloom Coach Society. We have a new business growth topic every single month, and I'm so excited about this. We're currently talking about client attraction, and we are just about to start next month, which will be money mindset. To go along with those topics, we have monthly business and mindset training videos from me, so you'll get a new video in depth every single month on the topic that we're talking about, and you also get a workbook that goes along with it. So it's a monthly workbook with daily prompts, because the biggest thing for me has been showing up every single day for my goals, for $1 Million Mariah. We think that getting the $1 million will suddenly be that person. No, I have to show up every single day like $1 Million Mariah, do those things, create those habits and systems in my life, and then the $1 million comes. So along with all of that, you also get live coaching calls with me, and you get access to the replays. And then we just have an amazing community of ambitious female entrepreneurs. And as this community grows, we are looking forward to hosting more Super Bloom events. So please join us. It's going to be amazing. So what is my vision for my business? Well, like I said, didn't make the $1 million this last year, but $1 million is still the goal. I don't know if it's going to happen this next year or the year after, but I know it's going to happen. But the other thing is, it was just such an amazing, transformative year. I really claimed it as my Super Bloom year. And I don't want it to be a one-time thing. So I have just decided every year is going to be a Super Bloom year, right? I didn't 10x my revenue, but I 10x'd my life experience. And I'm wondering, I'm just so excited thinking like, how do I do that again? How do I just 10x? How do I Super Bloom year after year? My next big sort of milestone, my next big goal is when we get a certain number of members inside of the society, we're gonna start hosting those big Super Bloom events again. So I'm super excited for that. For season 2, here is what we will be doing. We tried a bunch of different things this last year. If you are a loyal subscriber, follower, thank you for sticking with us. I honestly used this last year for experimentation, and we tried it all. I did just chatting to Zoom and just like talking off of an outline. I also did like completely scripted, like high production, really short, fast-paced YouTube style episodes. Like we tried all the things. We did interviews, solo episodes. We just tried everything. And where we landed was I just really like the more laid back, more conversational and in-depth sort of format that you get with traditional podcasts, knowing that we still want to make this accessible to our YouTube audience. Since people are there to watch the episode and not just listen, we have to make it, visually exciting as well. So what I've decided to do is start implementing more of a slideshow type of format where I'm kind of going off of an outline, but we've also got these slides that go along with it. So it can be conversational while also being visual for all of our YouTube subscribers. We're gonna keep doing more of these amazing interviews. We're also gonna do lots more real talk, dive deep, talk about what's working in business, what's not working, and specifically problems that female entrepreneurs are facing and how we overcome those together. I am expanding this to be not just for coaches. Of course, because I'm a coach, because I work with coaches, the focus will always be on the mindset around business and how to build the business and the life of your dreams. But we have so much to offer for all female entrepreneurs. So we're really opening up the audience as well as the new membership to be for female entrepreneurs from a coaching perspective. How do we coach ourselves? How do we have the mindset? How do we set the goals and have the follow through to really accomplish our very best in business and in life? And I want you to have a Super Bloom year every single year. So I will still be here as your Super Bloom coach. So like I said, this next year is my next Super Bloom year. Things are changing a little bit. I have decided, after an amazing year of some of the very best, dreamiest clients, like no joke, dreamiest clients I could ever have, that we're gonna not take a break, but we're gonna slow down on the design side of things. It was just so incredible. And I have a portfolio that I've barely shared, but I am so incredibly proud of what we have created over the last year. These brands, these luxury brands that we've created for just some amazing coaches. I can't wait to share those with you, but it was a lot. It was more clients than I've ever had before. It was a great learning experience. We grew, my team grew. I have so many other designers, copywriters, video editor, all these people working for me now, and it was incredible. But I really didn't get to coach the way that I thought I would. I was so deep into building brands for coaches, which I loved, but I had just come out of coach certification and I really wanted to start coaching female entrepreneurs and work not just on their brands, but on their minds, find the limiting beliefs that were holding them back and help them achieve their biggest goals. And so that said, we're only going to take a very few design clients over the next year or so. And our main focus will be coaching inside of the Super Bloom Coach Society. So I'm very excited about that. I am here to coach ambitious women to help them grow the businesses of their dreams and to achieve financial freedom. So I want to invite you to join us for your Super Bloom year. Learn from me. Don't wait for the $1 million to arrive to finally feel powerful, abundant, successful. You can start showing up as her now. I actually think that's the only way to do it, because you hear of so many entrepreneurs who just keep hustling, right? And they make the $1 million, and then they make the $10 million, and then, right? And they never slow down enough to actually enjoy it. It's just this constant hustle. They never realize that they're successful. They don't feel successful. They're always moving on to the next thing, which was me. So much has changed this year with my mindset and the way that I am approaching life and business. I think it's so important to build a life that you just absolutely love. You wake up every single morning and it's like, pinch me. I can't believe this is my life. And that's how I feel. And I think we all deserve that. You can choose to feel that way today. I will show you how. Join us inside of Super Bloom Coach Society.